Hey, how's it going? It's your main guitar instructor, Miles, and today I'm going to be talking to you about major scale shapes. And before we dive into what the shapes are, well, I want you to understand what a major scale shape is, what a major scale is, and why it's important to learn shapes on the guitar. And then we'll break down different shapes and how they work. So, what a major scale is, well, traditionally on a piano, right, you have all those white keys, and those white keys, if you start from C and you play a C, D, E, F, G, A, B, that's going to give you a C major scale. And when you play that particular scale, when you play the white notes, C through B, you get this formula. And it gives you the interval structure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you can create any major scale using that simple formula. And so, logically, in my opinion, the best way to start visualizing a major scale, and the first major scale shape that you need to learn, is a one string major scale. Okay, so we're going to start from our root note C. All right, and so what we're going to do is in a major scale, like I mentioned, the formula is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That gives us the whole and half step formula, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And so that's going to give you your root note C at that third fret A string, and you go a whole step, so C to D. So that's root note, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And so those frets are C3, D5. Actually, I'll just give you the fret numbers. So we have fret 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 15. All right, and that right there is your C major scale. Okay, so now that you have it down on a single string, it'll make a lot more sense when you start to visualize and play the scale in multiple positions with different scale shapes. All right, and the thing is, whenever you play a major scale, you're really just emphasizing the formula. Okay, so what we'll do is, rather than playing across one string, we can play the first three notes, which are 3, 5, and 7, and then rather than playing F, G, and A here at 8, 10, and 12 of the A string, you could play them at 3, 5, and 7 of the D string, which would give you this simple scale shape: 3, 5, 7 of A, 3, 5, 7 of D, and 4, 5 of the G string. All right, so one more time: A, 3, 5, 7, D, 3, 5, 7, and G, 4, 5. You could also organize those notes like this. And that is how you'll commonly see the C major scale played in a traditional acoustic guitar, electric guitar, or classical guitar lesson book. And that'll be 3, 5 on A, and then 2, 3, 5 on the D string, and 2, 4, 5 on the G string. All right, so those are some common shapes. And then one way that you could start to move all these around instantly is by understanding where the next root note appears. So for example, we go from C to C, which is the third fret A, to the fifth fret G. And then from that fifth fret G, you can start the scale shape all over again. And so that would give you frets 5, 7, and 9 of G, frets 6, 8, and 10 of the B string, and frets 7 and 8 of the high E string. So our initial shape is A and D, 3, 5, 7, and then G, 4, 5. And then moving up to the next octave, using the exact same finger structure on the fretting hand, we play 5, 7, 9 on G, and then 6, 8, 10 on the B string, and 7 and 8 on the high E. So far, we've learned the major scale on a single string, and then we've learned two popular ways to visualize a C major scale in a single octave. All right, now let's talk about how we can visualize a major scale using a couple of different popular systems. So, of course, my favorite system is a system called the 3-note per string system. And so now we're going to shift our root note over to G. And remember, your major scale formula remains the same no matter what root note you are using. So you can play this shape from any root note. We go from C major to D major to E major, and you can put that shape wherever you want it. That was B major. But for this 3-note per string shape, I'm going to use the root note G. And we're going to play the first position of the 3-note per string shapes. So that's going to be 3, 5, 7 of E, 3, 5, 7 of A, and then 4, 5, 7 of D and G, and then 5, 7, 8 of B and high E. So all together, 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8. All right, and that right there is the first position of 7 in the 3-note per string system. And honestly, you can learn the 3-note per string major scale shapes in a single weekend. So I honestly recommend doing that. A lot of incredible guitar players, Paul Gilbert and Rick Graham, use that system. And so that's the first shape in the system. And there are 7 shapes because there are 7 different notes, 7 different intervals in a major scale, right? 7 different degrees. So you can play a 3-note per string shape from each degree of the major scale. That's it from the first degree, the second degree, the third degree, the fourth degree, the fifth degree, the sixth degree, and then the 7th degree. All right, and like I say, it's really easy to find some these 3-note per string major scale charts and diagrams anywhere on the internet, and I even have a lesson on my YouTube channel about that particular concept, that exact scale shape, 3-note per string major scale shapes. Okay, and then of course the next system is called the cage system. I don't really use the cage system, but really what the cage system seeks to do is have you use your open chord shapes that we all learn as a beginner acoustic guitar player. C, A, G, E, and D. And those are our cage shapes, right? And you can take all of those shapes, C, A shape, G shape, the E shape, and the D shape. And from those positions, you can start to build scale shapes around those chords. And so that would be a C cage shape. And of course, if you want to learn the cage shapes, I don't really use the cage system all that often, but there are a bunch of different resources for that on Google, and I even have a resource for it on my own website. And so I'll be linking to all these different resources in the description below to help you out. But so you have the cage system, and then of course, last but not least, you have some obscure systems and shapes for visualizing major scales. So one of those would be the 2-note per string shape. And so at your low E at the 8th fret, you'd play 8, 10, then you'd play A, 7 and 8, D, 5 and 7, and G, 4 and 5. And like I say, at the end of the day, you can take the notes in your major scale and create a shape anywhere. And so you just take your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 and place them wherever you want, and you'll have a major scale shape. So you could play like a 2-string major scale shape. You could play like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then repeat. And so that was in the G major scale, and that shape would be 3, 5, 7, 8, index, middle, pinky, pinky, and the low E, 3, 5, 7, 8. And then on the A string, you'd get 5, 7, 9. And then you move that up to the next G note, which is at that 5th fret of your D string. And you get 5, 7, 9, 10, and then 7, 9, 11. And so those are some common ways to visualize major scale shapes. And what you need to do is you need to go and start just with one system. And actually start by learning the major scale on a single string, and then practice that single string shape, that single string major scale formula at different root notes. Move from C to G. And then from there, you'll want to learn a more technical system like the 3-note per string major scale shapes or the caged scale shapes, because these are going to help you visualize the entire fretboard, and it's going to make it really easy for you to move to different root notes on the fretboard and play in any key that you want and solo effortlessly. But anyways, that's all I've got for you today on major scale shapes. And of course, if you like this video, please like. If you have any questions, leave a comment. And of course, please subscribe to the channel, as it massively helps me out. Anyways, thanks so much again for watching, and keep shredding, keep practicing, and check out Guitarfluence.com for more resources, and check out the rest of the lessons on my channel if you're interested in learning more about guitar. Thanks so much. Catch you later.